I want a sandwich. Now. Oh, sandwich wench. Yo, wench. Sandwich. Now. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. Sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. Sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. Oh, sandwich wench. I want a sandwich. Sandwich.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another political recap stream here on the Moistski Live channel. Here to discuss a number of topics, I'm sure we'll bullshit our way through all of them, is my scrumdiddlyumptious co-host TrupsLP. Say hello, Trups.
Hello, Trups.
How is Trups today?
Trups is okay. It's one of my days off. It's always a nice day when I don't have to go to work.
That is a win. How's your week been?
The week has been. I actually have things to do at work, which makes me you know how you go into things and the act of accomplishing said task feels like you actually are worth you accomplished something, so good on you that day.
Yeah, I get you.
When I'm not doing a lot, it doesn't feel right. So I like when I have things to do.
So I can relate. Last Saturday I wrote a list of things to do. All 10 items, okay, 9 out of 10 were achieved. The final one I couldn't because my niece was ill. I'm going to play Magic with her. This week I've got 12 items on my list for tomorrow of things I want to do. And I want to get all of them done. Simple as that, you know? I like to be busy. I don't like stopping. It's like certain creatures in the ocean. If they stop moving, they die. I feel like that sometimes. I stagnate. I'm not active. I don't like it. It's boring.
Once you get into the stagnation, it's very hard to get out.
So that I can relate to as well, because when I first moved back here in 2012, I was unemployed. I was for 2 years before I finally decided, fuck this. I'm going self-employed. I'm sick of people telling me to dumb myself down when it's not accomplishing anything.
Right.
I was sick of people telling me how to push forward. I'd waited patiently. I applied for every job, and I simply said, "No, you're done. Bye. Ta-ta. I'm walking away." I went and did it myself, and here we are 8 years later, nearly 9 years at this point, and I never want to go back to that, because it is horrible. Especially when, and I remember this once, it was the one time I'd made an error. Before I left Norwich, got offered a job with BT, and it was an apprenticeship for 2 years. Now, I'd simply queried, what happens if you are not comfortable in this position? Would you be able to transfer to a different one? And they had thought that was me simply saying, no, they offered me the job, and I was like, yes, brilliant. Me and Dave were celebrating, and my friend Dave, who we drink together a fair bit, we were celebrating, and then they'd said that was an indicator of me not wanting to work, and therefore I was not worthy of this. And I'm like, but that was the one mistake I made, because I just thought I'd query it in an email, and it cost me, and that put me in and I would say that it was my fault, but I put myself into a rut for 2 years. I don't like it. No one, if you like being in that way, you'll find you'll never be able to find a path out, and you won't like it. I'm glad I just went, fuck this, let's go.
I could get off on a rampage about corporate, the bullshit that you have to go through in order to succeed in a corporate fucking environment.
That would have been a corporate environment as well.
I hate, and I knew exactly it was as soon as you said so. Only corporate environments have that kind of bullshit, you asking questions is actually indication of you not wanting the job, even though you're asking directly about said job.
It hurts.
It would only make sense to a fucking HR recruiter to say these things. No other human being thinks that makes sense. But an HR person, that makes clear and obvious
absolutely
sense.
What really hurt the most was If I had gotten that job and carried on, I would have had a full-time job earning 30k a year, which would have been actually a fantastic entry level. Well, it would start off at 15 because apprenticeship. I would have gotten 30k afterwards. I never would have left Norwich. I'd still be there now. Because I know what I'm like. First of all, you would have been bottom of the ladder on telephones. I would have pushed to get up that ladder straight away. But that's never happening now. Fuck them. I don't care enough. You took away a chance. I screwed up. That's fine. You know what? We'll own it. Before we go anywhere, let's say hello to people. Hello, Charlie Church, Jingo J, Chaos, Edward Shaw. Is that Lily's? Hello, Sabius. Hello. Noetic. Hope you're all well today. Hope you're looking forward to your evenings, days, mornings, nights, and weekends. So, where would Trups like to start today?
Well, if you'd like, we can start with the news that came out today about Mr. Pelosi.
Sure. We'll preface this with the following. We do not and will not and shall not ever condone what happened to him. And I'm not even going to laugh at it because I don't find it funny. Continue.
Well, it's very fucked up. Okay, so a home invasion. The individuals involved in the investigation have said that the break-in for the Pelosi household was in fact an assassination attempt on the speaker. And look, as much as you may hate the person, right? What you had was an 82-year-old man getting beaten in the head with a hammer. And there's an old Chris Rock joke that says, "I don't approve, but I understand."
Yeah.
I understand where you might want to say, "Nah, but they do X or they do Y."
Yeah.
I understand, but it's not something that we can tolerate. At least not myself or Meg. And the only reason why, and you can say that we're standing on a moral pillar or whatever, but if I'll speak from my own personal thing, if I ever forsake some sort of morals and ethics, then I will have none. Right? So I have to hold true to at least a set of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the only ways that I can continuously be a person who doesn't mind criticizing others for their lack of morals, because I actually have something to stand on.
Agreed. Hello, but before I add my 2 cents, hello Gemma, hello Lisa, hello Destiny's Oblivion, and Sultry Stop Sign. Love the name. My view is very similar to Trups, and honestly, if anyone tries to justify this, get the fuck out of here, quite frankly, because no. I don't care for Pelosi in the slightest. I really don't. But there's no justification for that in the slightest, I'm afraid. And her husband, for God's sake, no. I'm surprised that, hang on, when it said San Francisco home, part of me was like, is that the main one? I thought she lived somewhere else in a mansion.
Well, yeah, she does have I believe it was a Florida home that she had bought recently at the start of the year, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. I knew she had a mansion because I remember that during is that one the one in California? Because I remember seeing that freezer with all the ice creams in. Do you remember that?
Yes, I think that was the San Francisco home, which also it kind of plays into the whole like home invasion thing. Wasn't like a targeted situation because San Francisco crime has been going up, and some people could say like, oh well, it was a well-to-do neighborhood. Maybe they just happened upon that house and it was just a home break-in.
Sus, very sus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I get the logic and the reasoning. It does make some sense, but I call bullshit.
Mm-hmm. I mean that's fine. Like like that's an acceptable position. I just I understand where people could have gone that route when talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But no. So I mean, what ended up happening was this guy broke in and apparently was looking for Nancy Pelosi, but she wasn't in the San Francisco home because I believe they're still in active session. So she's probably living somewhere in Washington D.C. right now.
Does the speaker
really,
always have to be there for that? I thought she was meant to have retired by now.
Well, yeah, I wish she was.
Hello, everyone.
But no.
I'm a bit surprised that that she's still active. And this isn't a dig at age, by the way, but you mentioned her husband in the 80s. She's not far behind that, I believe.
No, she's not.
So I don't, obviously, for the sake of politics, I don't generally think there should be an age cap, but I do think that there is a certain age where you really do need to reconsider what's worth more to you, your powerful position or what little future you get to have enjoying life without controlling people. Because you'll find the latter is remarkably refreshing when you're not, being a twat on a daily. Constantly worrying about being in the newspapers. I mean, I know a lot of people do. They seek power. I get it, and that's the mentality. I get it. But man, things are so much easier when you're just not giving a damn. And you can claim, by the way, that, just be honest, there's an argument here that they don't really give a damn in the first place, but actually they care enough to intentionally not care.
Right. Absolutely. No, I totally agree.
And she'll never willingly give up power, Lisa. I tend to agree. Remember that when that dude took a dump on Nancy's desk? I'd heard about this guy, but I didn't know that was true.
Oh, during the actual
the incursion.
January 6th. Yeah, well, I don't use words like that.
It was just it was a restructuring of a hard drive that was just sat there by providing a new ornament for keepsake.
I mean, it was an interior decoration choice.
It was a Employee of the Month award.
Yeah,
a metaphor for your time in office.
But yeah, I mean, Chad is absolutely correct. Nancy Pelosi would never willingly give up power.
Yeah. I get that. It's interesting to see when things shift, how quickly someone who said they would only serve X amount of time would so willingly go against it. And that happens to everyone. Of course it does. They like where they are, and they seem to think that this is it. This is where they'll make the most change. They'll be able to go further up the totem pole, possibly. It's always possible with Nancy.
I mean, when it's lucrative, right?
Absolutely. And let's not forget here, when anyone's dealing with insider trading, Nancy Pelosi is very much familiar with that.
As is Paul Pelosi. Now, does that person deserve to get beaten with a hammer?
You're right.
Some may say yes, but I would say no.
We both would.
And I would say, stop that. You know better.
I'd say
I know every instance in your heart says like the revenge mentality. It's very human.
Yeah.
Come on, you know better.
I think generally shitty behavior, of course, does court inevitable consequence eventually, but in this instance, I don't think the two are related in that regard. But I also think that Paul Pelosi, really PP, fucking hell. PP was PP was like a mana thing. I thought that's what it was.
Yeah, PP.
Yeah.
We all know PP. Everyone knows PP. PP.
PP is also what kids say when they go to the toilet.
Yes, it is.
I can never justify using violence. Simple as that. And if you are the type to justify it, fuck off. just fuck off.
All right.
What a way to start.
Yeah, well, I wanted to get that one out of the way because it was topical.
It is relevant. It was a very recent thing I noticed as well, and I was wondering if you were going to consider talking about it.
I figured it might as well. There's not much to it. It's just, this thing happened. No,
that's fair. That is 100% fair. I did see, and while it isn't completely, well, there are a couple tie-ins actually. First of all, your president had referenced our prime minister and referenced him and misnamed him completely.
I saw that.
Or that your prime minister said people of color hit hardest when airlines charge for extra legroom. Thoughts?
Can you say that one more time so
People of color are hit hardest when airlines charge for extra legroom. It's in our tab. Scroll up. It's a little video.
Yeah.
Is he fat shaming?
I think so.
Okay. For the midterms. Interesting. He's bringing out that racism again, I see. It worked well last time, though, because he got a record number of votes.
Yes, totally.
Legitimate votes, of course.
Completely and utterly, completely legitimate votes.
We here do not challenge the results of the 2020 election. We just call into question that there might be a discrepancy, mythical as it is, of course, that might need a little bit of thumb poked at it for the bounce.
Now, I will point out that even Hillary Clinton and major Democratic news pundits have floated the idea that not only are the Republicans plotting to steal the 2022 midterms and the 2024 election, but Hillary Clinton herself has said such things. Because, fucking of course she did.
Is she still alive?
Unfortunately. I know, in contrast to what I just said.
You're such a dick.
I do not wish for bad things to happen, but that doesn't mean that I won't go.
Amazing. Just
could
amazing.
have happened to a better person.
Oh, that's such a shitty thing to say.
Purely natural causes.
I didn't know she was still about.
She is.
I know a lot of people like to mention this. She won the popular vote in 2016 or something. Well, most Democrats do, so who cares? And I know, if you're back far enough, like some point Republicans won it. I don't care. All right, shut up. But the fact she's still there, still about, is interesting because she's someone that did. Well, she had no real choice. Give up aspects of power and do other things.
No,
I said aspects, not all.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's just when you say Hillary Clinton is a person who wouldn't give up.
Oh no, she won't give up anything.
I was agreeing,
but I do. Oh, okay. I don't think she'd ever give up anything willingly. But don't forget, here she lost to Trump.
She did.
She had no choice.
And then even floated the idea that it was stolen by Russia.
Oh god, they did that for so long.
They did.
Miss me with that shit, you pricks. And
they unironically think it's true.
Same people who then said, "Oh, the Electoral College needs abolishing." Okay, if you do that, you'll never have a Republican president. You can say, "Oh, but that's perfect." Okay, try living under one type of government forever. It's called North Korea, by the way.
Well, they never think about far ahead.
Hello, Garrett.
Democrats are remarkably short-sighted. At least the pundits, the MSNBC talking heads, they're horribly short-sighted.
I've seen
asking for
with your midterms coming up. I've seen a fair few notable names popping up and saying, if you want to prevent things like the insurrection happening again, you got to vote blue. We've got to push the red wave back before they take away. And then insert all these services that apparently Republicans would abolish. And I'm very intrigued by this because there was also another one that said, I think Biden had said that under him, fuel is now lower than what it was when he took office. And someone had to point out underneath him, motherfucker, it was $1 cheaper when you took office. Don't lie.
Well, look, the man is not all with it.
Obviously.
Shocking, I know. I mean, the thing that the Democrats have tried to float heading into these midterms is that somehow Joe Biden. Oh, this is the one that pisses me off the most hearing. Yes, inflation is a problem, but here in the U.S., we're doing a lot better than other Western countries. Motherfucker, that's not a good excuse.
That's like when in our country, hello, Cyrene, our government would invariably say, but our economy is growing better than everyone else's. And I'm like, that means jack shit to me. I don't care about other countries. I care about how we are doing. It doesn't matter if we're growing more than them if our economy is still dog shit and our money is worth as much as a US dollar. Our money is meant to be worth a lot more than your dollar.
True.
Not at the moment it fucking is. When I was younger, it used to be $1.50 for every pound. Now it's closer to $1.10.
Yeah, that's gotta suck.
But it's good when I get paid by YouTube because I get paid in dollars, so it's actually good for me in that respect because I get more pounds.
Yeah, I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, so this is the time that I need to go and buy all my British imports.
Yeah. Although I really wish we had a trade deal so I got my booze from you guys.
Yeah. Anyway, so I mean, like in terms of the midterms, I hate that. I hate that argument. It's so stupid. It's like it feels like we're almost like shitting on like our friends too.
It's strange to say that because and I'm agreeing with you here in the sense that it's a compliment assault. Compliment ourselves, insult the others.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh yeah, we're doing so much better than those other people. You know, those other ones. You mean our allies? Yeah, them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a bad thing. Like, wouldn't we want our allies to do just as good as us, or even honestly better? Because, I mean, we're friends, right? Like,
totally.
We want success for our friends, right?
Yeah, of course.
I know that's a weird thought for a government, but like, isn't that the play? Isn't that usually what real friends want?
If you're operating on the international stage, which is what the president should be doing in your country, not focusing on domestic, you are 100% correct. My government is supposed to focus on domestic and foreign, even though they have a foreign secretary. But to be honest, it's a redundant position. So you need to play nice on the international stage, but also try and one up everyone then you as a country should always be, your country especially, should be able to do that anyway because of how big, how much space, how productive you can be if your country can pull its thumb out and stop shafting itself. Or doing it for politics' sake, to make yourself look good for one brief moment. We do that, and it falls every single time. It fails. It's not going to work. Like it can't work in our country. That's our idea. But that's what we have to deal with on a regular because people keep trying.
Yes,
to do it.
Unfortunately, our we cannot handle such humility. I think maybe
that's certainly the word I'd use. It's certainly something.
We just can't help ourselves, really.
No, I get you. But I think if you're, I generally think we all want to be allies. You want to make money. You want to do good by our people, which is the main focus of our government for the people of our country. I think that if that's the focus, then I don't care how good you look on the international stage. Governments can fluff their own balls for that. I don't care. As long as we, the country, benefit from it, like trade deals. And we have, on a regular here, people complaining on Twitter and protesting still to rejoin the EU because we've lost so many millions of pounds in trade deals. This government's let us down and we're dying, everyone. Let me just sip from my...
Do you feel like you're dying?
I feel like I'm drinking Glenmorangie. I don't feel like death at all.
I don't know what that is.
It's a Scotch. Highland. I got it on sale because, they're getting rid of the old bottles.
Because we're poor.
That too. But they had all these half-size bottles, but they were selling them at a price where if I bought 4 of them, I'd have 2 full bottles worth of the same whiskey if I bought 1 full bottle.
For cheaper.
So exactly. So I was like, well, I'll buy 4 of these small ones then. Fuck it. Bosh.
No, absolutely. That just makes sense.
Absolutely. I snapped those up and I've been drinking that. So I don't feel like I'm dying. I feel like I've had a glass of scotch.
So the one last thing that I want to mention before we can go into your stuff is remember how last week we were talking about the Senate race with Dr. Oz and
Herschel
and John Fetterman.
No,
John Fetterman.
Sorry, wrong one.
So that's the Pennsylvania Senate race, and that one is crucially important to the Democrats because it is the only one in which a Republican a Republican-held Senate seat was being led by Democrats.
Okay, what does that mean?
So, Democrat John Fetterman is the Lieutenant Attorney General of Pennsylvania. And he was doing pretty well in his race against Dr. Oz. Unfortunately, they recently had a debate. Now, John Fetterman had a stroke.
That's the guy. Okay, I saw a video of him on Twitter, and people were saying, it doesn't matter if you have a stroke, you're going to lose.
I feel genuinely bad for the man because watching the video, of him struggling to speak during the debate, it was genuinely painful. I can't imagine what it would feel like to basically, for example, be greeted by the moderator and say, John Fetterman, welcome to the thing, and he goes, "Hello, good night, everyone."
Oh dear.
Now, most people understand what you mean to say, but somewhere in your head, you knew what you wanted. You wanted to say good evening as a greeting message, right? But what came out was good night, which is typically a sign-off. And I can't imagine how mind-numbingly frustrating that would be. Now, that was just the start of it. He went on to not be able to articulate any of his political positions. And on a human level, it looked horrible. As if, they were kind of like what we say about Biden, with like it being cruelty to send him around to make him speak publicly about all this crap.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like that.
I saw a 5-minute video and I watched it, and I didn't know what I was watching. But while I can applaud the bravery of being able to, after such a experience, to be able to stand up on a stage and do what you feel is right, to hold a position or try and challenge for a position or do a job. The problem is you are compromised. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, but he shouldn't be running.
Right. And it hurts. It hurts to watch the establishment care so little about the individuals that they keep throwing up, to be their individual on stage.
Yeah.
As Sultry said in the chat, the debate was hard. They're parading around a stroke victim like he's a chimp at a fair. They are. They're putting him against a reality show host, a TV doctor, who not only has the ability and experience of talking to a crowd, like hamming up a crowd, but then you put somebody who's had an actual, like, permanent, life-altering condition that was of no fault of his own. I think. I don't know necessarily causes of stroke, so I may not want to say that. I don't presume that he did anything to cause the stroke.
Let's go with he didn't do anything to cause it. It happened.
Right, it happens. It's a terrible thing, and they're still trying to put him up there as if he's gonna lead the uninitiated voter to say, yes, the Democrats are the people who I want to represent me. There's no way in hell.
It's a strange one, because when he'd mentioned coming back from a stroke, I know it was... The thing is, okay, and yes, chaos, we know they cause aphasia. Thank you for that. The issue I took main issue is that when you make something in some of the things that he had said that I understood, he mentioned stroke as if it was part of the identity aspect. The problem is, when I hear the word stroke, I hear compromised. Mm-hmm. So if you reference having a stroke, or it's obvious you've had a stroke, you are compromised and it's part of your identity now. Why would I want to vote for that when I know that you are going to be serving people, and that could well lead to be involved in legislation and involve additional time required to explain something to you or to get you to be able to talk or debate, knowing that you cannot, at that level, do your job. And hello, Morris Minor and anyone. Oh, True King of Scotland as well. Ahsoka as well. Hope you're all well. I stand by that. I do not believe... Who was it? Was it Fetterman, is it, that had the stroke?
Yeah, John Fetterman, yeah.
And that's a Democrat, yeah?
Yes.
Right. No. Go and get a different candidate and find someone better. And who is the reality doctor, the one that people have been shitting on?
Probably.
Okay. I obviously don't know anything about him either. I just know about Fetterman because I saw that video, and all I got from it was a stroke is a part of my identity, and then people are applauding it, and I'm just like, can you not? Just no. Stop. This isn't like tick every box thing. I don't want everyone who is mentally there, to be in positions of that power. This is Senate, yeah?
Yeah.
This is full on Senate, not state Senate.
Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah, no, because 6 years, that brain is going to be put to the test and going to be strained and stressed. And you know what could happen then?
Well, think about how much pain and anger that man would have to go through on a daily basis, trying so desperately to articulate what he wants to say, but physically cannot because the connection in his brain doesn't work.
It's not just that, but there's a risk also with certain stresses of things happening that would only repeat under certain stresses. I'm not saying he could have it. I'd never wish anyone to have a stroke in the first place, but there's always a risk of a repeat in many things. And I wouldn't want someone who's already gone through that to risk anything else happening to them. As much as I get that in the case of Fetterman, there's a chance he genuinely wants to serve his people. I fully respect that.
Sure.
However, you're going to have to do it in another way. Or you should do it in another way that will not cause you, if you win, 6 years of genuine agony.
Yeah, and so unfortunately after the debate, unfortunately, but also kind of fortunately, after the debate, the numbers for Fetterman tanked. I mean, went downhill so fast.
So he'll win then.
So Dr. Oz will probably win, just based on kind of similar things that I had said, where people are looking at it like, wow, this is painful on a human empathy level.
So there's a debates are very important in this democratic process, and I like to use the West Wing as an example of something an important point in debates. Josiah Bartlett had said, in politics, 10 words is a killer. In this instance, one of your candidates can't even say 10 words.
Right.
Ta-ta.
Yep. I mean, literally, there was a case in which the guy was asked, okay, so you used to say you didn't support fracking at all, and now you say you support fracking. How do you reconcile these changes, essentially? Yeah. And he goes, I support fracking. I support fracking, and that's where I stand. I support fracking.
Yeah.
And it was painful, because I know what I could see, him saying, I don't agree with the previous assertion that I didn't support. I can almost want to feed him his lines, like a stage manager looking for a show, right? But I know that he can't do it, and it feels so bad.
I'm glad others. I mean, from the bit I saw, I felt genuinely sorry for him. And I don't mean it in a patronizing way. It's a way of, you really aren't, you shouldn't be there. And others have pointed out here that Google searches for "can I change my vote in Pennsylvania" skyrocketing after the debate. That's, while actually quite funny, genuinely tragic. And you're right to feel, others are, especially to feel sorry for Fetterman, because I'm sorry, you're being used as a glorified chimp. Yeah,
totally. And that's just the way that things are going, and I think it's abhorrent.
It is 100%.
All right, but that's what I wanted to talk about today. Let's move on to your folks over across the pond.
Of course you do. All right. So I'm going to start with a Magic the Gathering joke. It's a Liz Truss magic card. Legendary creature, human. It's a swamp and white card. 2 power, but additionally 1 white and 1 swamp. The abilities of the cards, 2/3. When Liz Truss enters the battlefield, destroy target monarch you control. It cannot be regenerated. And at the end of your turn, sacrifice Liz Truss. For fuck's sake, she was in office for 44 days or 45 days. And that's the card someone generated of her. That is...
I love it, actually.
Mwah. I may have to get that print. No, I won't get it printed. I may save that picture though, because it's very funny. Oh, yawn. My apologies. Liz
You
Truss.
don't say.
Yeah, right. Liz Truss didn't survive long. Why? She basically introduced a mini budget, and that mini budget was the most conservative budget you could ever do, and it tanked the economy worse than, almost as bad as Gordon Brown, to be honest. She lost her Chancellor, her Home Secretary. She lost a few people, actually. And so she resigned, which was hilarious, especially as the day before she said she's a fighter, not a quitter. And 3 names were in the pot. Rishi Sunak, or Rishuk Sunak, Sinuk, whatever your fucking president called him.
We don't accept him.
That's not racist. Penny Mordaunt. And the third was Boris Johnson. Now, this intrigued me. This intrigued me on so many levels. Because I had said last time Rishi should have won. I don't support him, but orator, he's very calm, very clean. I've watched him do PMQs this week. He is very quick, concise, and he doesn't slow down. He's straight. He doesn't answer like a person.
He's a
politician.
shot.
He is, but he's not as predecessors. He has that youth that David Cameron had, which really gives him an edge. Yeah, Penny Mordaunt, I knew nothing really about her beyond her being considered a MILF, even though she has no kids. And because she did a swimsuit thing. Boris, though, was the real wild card, because if he had won after 45 days of not being Prime Minister, that would have been hilarious. Because how do you re-elect or choose someone to be Prime Minister who is yeeted by the majority of those who are now willing to vote for him again? And so the rule was, if you had 100 members of your party backing you by the end of Monday, you'd be in the running. Over the weekend, Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak had a conversation, and Boris decided to not run. Now, I think this is right, because I think in the future he could run again if he wants, and he'd probably win, to be honest. But it was right to do it, because Penny Mordaunt, Rishi Sunak, sure. Penny, though, I've noticed from her speaking, she is very, very confident and very straightforward as well, but she's a little bit slower. But that's because she's about 15 years older. But she's still very, but she wasn't able to secure the backing of enough people, so she backed out as well. But I think she'd also had a conversation with Rishi. So I think she was guaranteed a spot in his cabinet. So Rishi Sunak was declared a member of was declared the Prime Minister, basically. So he was chosen, and he gave a speech, he met the king, he did all his usual things, and said, right, now we're getting to work. The first thing he did was set up a government, and a few people lost their jobs. Jacob Rees-Mogg quit, I believe. He resigned. I don't think it was anything against Rishi. I think it was just because he felt it was right to walk away. Penny Mordaunt, I believe, is still the leader of the House of Commons and president of the council, so she kept her job. And that makes sense, because to get rid of her is pointless, because the job it's not really, why bother, The only other person I know that definitely kept their job was Jeremy Hunt. Jeremy Hunt, the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Now, I think he was kept because I think he and Rishi agree that the current economic plan, is a bad idea. Sorry, the previous one was a bad, Kwasi Kwarteng's idea was bad because it was just too conservative. It favoured too many rich people and really did hurt the economy. Although Jeremy has admitted he's going to have to introduce austerity of sorts again. Basically what we had to deal with in 2010 back again for an electric boogaloo, like another new prime minister. Did you like the title, people? Why am I yawning? So
Because it's so thrilling.
honestly, we're only 40 minutes in. I've got to make this work. Okay, we'll make this work. But one of the surprising returns to the front benches was the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman. Now, Suella Braverman, she resigned under Liz Truss after only a few weeks because she'd accidentally sent an email, a private email, through her own personal email account, which breaches parliamentary rules. Rishi brought her back. Now, this was actually mentioned in PMQs. Thing is, and this is a mistake on Keir's part. Firstly, she wasn't fired by Liz Truss. She resigned straight away. She resigned. Suella straight up resigned straight away, which was the right thing to do. She took responsibility for it. Rishi brought her back because I think he genuinely believes that she had admitted, at least she had the decency and the integrity to admit her wrong and right it. And giving her a second chance was a chance to see if she actually could do this job for at least the next 2 years before they're destroyed by Labour. Which he's got 2 years to fix this before he becomes another footnote in short prime ministerial terms. Although there's always a possibility he could be leader of the opposition for a term, but I doubt he'd beat Keir Starmer based on what he's done so far. And I think that so other names brought back or reshuffled include Grant Shapps. Everyone knew he was going to stay in the cabinet in some respect because he's always been fairly on the fence type. There are other names, but to be honest, they're all inconsequential. And in PMQs, so I watched it on Wednesday. I got back from the gym, sat here eating my lunch with a cat, trying to get my sandwich and me swatting her like a fucking fly. And
yes, my cat currently is even trying to weasel his way into the stream himself.
Nice, good
Is
cat.
that right, Guinness?
Good cat.
Yes.
But during PMQs, Keir Starmer, first of all, I don't care about the race of a prime minister. I don't care about the gender of a prime minister. The fun thing is really that Labour have only ever had white leaders. Only. Right? They've only had men as well. Conservatives had 3 females. Granted, one was barely noticeable. And they now had a prime minister who's ethnic minority. Now, granted, he doesn't speak for everyone because he comes from money. That's fine. But he still ticks a box that you can't tick. And also has the diversity that Labour also don't have, which is hilarious. Mr. PMQ streams. I'm very sorry, but no one watches them, Chaos. I can't justify bringing it back because honestly, I'm sat there with like 5 people watching. I can't bring something back if I'm wasting an hour of my life. I wanted to grow it, but no one turned up. Sorry. I thought I'd be honest on that one, unfortunately. But yeah, so during PMQs, Keir Starmer mentioned the race things. And what's funny is that he has had to suspend 2 people. 2 people have had to be suspended from the party, themselves minority people, because they have questioned Rishi Sunak's race or level of race or how he is of this race, but he doesn't represent that race because he acts like what can only be charitably described as a Tom Uncle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You guys have that too.
In essence, yeah. Well, they had it during the London mayor general election. Was it something Bailey? African English bloke, black. Let's go with that. Person of color against Sadiq Khan. People were questioning his race because he is a conservative and he's also black. Like, you've got to be kidding me. But they were doing it, and that's a damning statement of, you know, the same shit you guys deal with Democrats.
Yeah. True.
I
don't know what the fuck's up with people when they keep doing this shit. It's like,
yeah.
look, man. Like, I don't know what you want, but like, I'm sorry, they don't fit your mold of like what you want somebody to look like and act like. Like, that sounds almost more racist than what you call the conservatives, but you know, that's just me.
It's very hard to call them racist when they still have a more diverse, you know, government. But I do have some of the names here. So Dominic Raab is the Deputy Prime Minister still. I don't know if he was under Liz Truss, but he is now. Let's see. lost. Okay, he wasn't deputy prime minister when Liz Truss was in office for 40 something days. So he got his job back as deputy prime minister. You've got let's see, foreign secretary, someone called James Cleverly. He's been here and there, but no one cares. The snake Michael Gove is called the leveling up secretary. That is a bullshit title if I've ever heard it. Okay, so someone who did back Rishi, Kemi Badenoch. She is she much like Kwasi Kwarteng, Black English. She has spoken out against the whole white privilege nonsense. What I found fascinating is a lot of the people who have been critical of, let's say, ethnic minority politicians who are conservative, people who have been critical of them. It's very selective because the ones they've actually been critical of are those that are married to white people, and I found that a really strange connection. But I noticed it, and I had to line up photos of every single Conservative MP that has been a victim of racism, when they themselves are arguably the more diverse and inclusive based on their own marital history, like compared to the people who are flaying them, who are strictly sticking with their own race, which is not even a joke. I even proved that. It's hilarious. We're supposed to be more multicultural, diverse, and welcoming, and culturally enriched. But apparently the Conservatives are doing this better than Labour. Lead by example, please. Line up and get blacked. Line up and get blacked. just honestly, you can't. It was only ever those, and it was such an odd point to notice. It's only ever the MPs they've gone in on that are ethnic minority that happen to also be married to white people. They never went in on anyone else that was ethnic minority that was married to somebody who was also ethnic minority. I thought that was just really strange and coinky dinky.
Oh yeah, I've seen similar things like that fall along those lines, and I have observed individuals very much usually of certain minorities who are very opposed to the idea of their races mixing with others, and it's not white people who are bringing this up.
I just want to add something amusing I saw. First of all, there's an MP called Gavin Williamson. His minister role is Minister Without Portfolio. I don't know what that means. But the one that I love the most, just by name alone, is, I guess, a little bit ironic. He's the leader of the House of Lords. His full title is Lord True.
True.
That's a fucking lie. I love it.
I like that name though.
I do. It's literally spelled as the word true as well, not like some clever TRU thing. But yeah, there's some familiar names still here, and that's interesting. But I found some. I still find it's all quite fascinating. I find it fascinating because it's strange who they pick to go in on, because it always seems to, and it's Labour that are really guilty of this, because they really do choose the people they claim to want people to be more like, as in the whole racial everything, welcoming, inclusive, and there's nothing wrong with that in the slightest. Of course, I couldn't care less. Every race should be bred out of existence at this point, quite frankly. I'd like to see you all like squids that can go translucent at a whim. Chameleon, perhaps. Cool. I'd like one arm black, one arm give me another racial color, and that could be that. My leg can be another one.
I can't do that with good consciousness.
I mean, it could be. I mean, that's vitiligo, isn't it? At that point.
Fucking blue. Just screw it. Blue.
Yeah, it's blue. It's vitiligo, but it's Cthulhukin inspired. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. I am intrigued by what Rishi's going to do, because it's an uphill battle. He's got 2 years realistically for a general election, and the thing for Labour now is they need to hammer home that they need a general election. They need to hammer it home now, because otherwise Rishi could potentially rally. He could potentially change things a little. Because don't forget, the less Boris has seen, Liz has already been seen in the House of Commons, right? By the way, and people just bullied her the entire time. That's fine. You do your thing. She has to weather that storm because she's shit. But Boris, the less he's seen, the more it focuses on the issues and what Rishi is doing. So Boris knows, for the sake of his party, he has to be invisible, which is why he could not have been offered a role anyway. I don't know if he can serve another role in high office, actually, but he has to be invisible. And that has to stay that way for the time being, which is good, because it means that he then, Rishi, can only then focus on the issues, and Keir Starmer can't use that on him. Problem he has is, he rehired Suella Braverman, and Keir could spin it. That's fine, but he handled it well. He reasonably handled it well. He handled the silly Scottish twat as well. You know, he did all right in PMQs. He wasn't great, but he's confident enough with how he speaks that I don't think he struggled as much as Liz Truss did, who slowed down to a point of near sedation. And Boris, obviously, you know, there's some words in there if you heard it. That's Boris talking. And Rishi doesn't do that. To me, Rishi Sunak speaks similar accent, similar confidence to that of Tony Blair, just without the illegal war and the sucking of George Bush's arsehole. But I think what we should do now, because it's been mentioned in the chat.
Oh, yes. I wanted to mention that.
I just want to point out, the first thing I saw on Twitter was a tweet from somebody who had included a video of Nazi tanks invading with the song "The Boys Are Back in Town" playing.
Please tell me it was from a previously disabled account, too.
It might have been. I don't know. But I don't know. I have to go and... I saved the tweet, actually. Where is it? We got one here of Facebook and Insta down there. Where's the boys back in town? Yeah, I got the video. I can't play the audio of it, but it's literally Nazi cars and tanks, and the boys are back in town playing. Where's the tweet?
See, I would have much more appreciated if it played Erica. Just I
mean, I think I would have settled for Sabaton's "The Final Solution" at this point.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What are you, Kanye?
Oh, Kanye, man. He's
okay.
so rich.
Real quick about the Kanye thing. I saw a TikTok yesterday of Konami banning Kanye from playing the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game.
Does he play?
I want to point out that Jeffrey Epstein was allowed to exist in this world. And Kanye has gotten more flack for the things that he has said than a lot of Kevin Spacey, for instance.
Thank you, Cyrene, for the clarification. I just want to say, I can't say too much about what Kanye said because, oh my god, fucking hell, man, it's so. We have to be careful on YouTube because we don't know how they're going to respond. But we know Google have been banning people from uploading interviews or videos of Kanye onto their Google Drive, so we have to be careful. But Jesus Christ, man. It's does he own Parler now? It's so funny watching just the anger. People are, I can like his music, but not everything he does. And then like Balenciaga and Adidas have all like gone, nah, we're not having anything to do with that. I'm like,
Adidas, by the way, having been formed by a literal Nazi.
Just gonna add to this, by the way, that if you own any Yeezys and they're not opened in their box, right now they're going to go up in value. Keep them in their box, give it about 5-6 months, and then sell them. They're going to go right up.
If you want to hold it for a year, it might go even longer.
You might, but you never know how social media changes as a landscape.
You sneakerheads know a lot better. So just, be smart. You might have an investment opportunity.
Yes. I say this only from my knowledge of whiskey investments. But I do know that there is a market, but social media impact your market very differently to mine. So you've got to pick that moment is very similar to a stock market. You just got to be careful. But back to Elon Musk. Is he now officially the owner of Twitter?
Yes, indeed he is. In fact, they
The boys are
delisted it
back
from the
in
New York
town.
Stock
Boys
Exchange.
are back in town.
Yes, they delisted it from the New York Stock Exchange. He does have, ownership of it.
I had seen a few people tweet saying, "Oh, can you buy YouTube and then Google next time?" Just buy Google. There's no point in him doing it. It's too much money he already spent on Twitter. But I just think that, come on. Come on,
no. YouTube or
I'd love for him to do it,
Google
but
will probably
he can't.
never-
Yeah, no, they won't. Alphabet won't sell up anything.
No.
They
Alphabet, like Microsoft and the U.S. government, buy things from people so that they can lock them away and only they can use it.
and then ruin them for everyone else.
And then ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah. I just, in this instance, let's just focus on the issue at hand. Potentially, lots of people are going to get their accounts or be able to get accounts back. That's good news. Others have said, "Oh, we're going to go to MySpace because Tom was cool." I'm like, fam, Tom was the only friend you had on MySpace. Yes, you could fully customize your page, but MySpace couldn't keep up with Twitter and Facebook when they were just starting. At that point, MySpace was fully grown and it still couldn't keep up with them. And by the way, I had a MySpace.
Tom never stole my data.
True. Tom didn't sell your data at all. But Tom did sell the company for $580 million and went and basically quit social media, for all intents and purposes, he may as well have, and he does some photography bits here and there. The man just lives his best life.
What a genius man this is.
He lives his best life. And
absolutely.
you can want to go back to MySpace now, those who are salty, but you're the same dipshits who have unironically said, get your own platform. But when it gets point-foot back onto you, you're suddenly like, no, let's go MySpace. That's much cooler because I can customize my page. Okay, good luck with that.
Can I play my favorite song?
Yeah.
Everyone knows that I like My Chemical Romance in 2006.
Fam, I actually did. They had a live show on MySpace, they did, of the Black Parade album back then, and they did it solely for MySpace. It was very good. And my housemates hated it and I loved it. Wait, you can actually... I'm looking at MySpace now. What the fuck is this page? This is bull.
Wait, is MySpace still up?
MySpace is still up. It looks ugly, man.
Oh, no. No, what have they done?
Man, if you go back to MySpace, go nuts. Honestly, you're so salty. Can I just have the screaming person when Trump was inaugurated again, please? Hello, J. Taruka.
Did you see that so many people were saying that they wanted to go to another social media platform called Tribal?
Tribal or Tribble?
I don't know.
That's a Star Trek reference. Sorry, I just thought I'd throw it in. Tribal. That sounds like Tribal sounds like Tidal, which isn't that a streaming platform for?
It's Tribel.
That's not even how you spell tribal.
Right, but you know what's funny about that is that it's completely tribal.
Of course it is. That's the funny thing. Actually, I got an email from Spotify email, Disturbed off this limited edition version of the new album coming out. And in the email, they mentioned everything has gotten so much tribalism in it. And I'm like, that is so... It's obviously stating the bleeding obvious. But it's very true in this instance that many are recognizing that there is so much tribalism. And there's never going to be no tribalism. Please don't be silly. But I think in the instance of people getting so salty they willingly go to other platforms, fam, you were telling people to do the same. And when they did, you tried to get them all removed. Like, how pathetic is your life?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same. It's the same. Yeah, right. It's the same thing though with the projection from people who are like, oh, Elon Musk is gonna ban everybody now. No, literally, no. That's not. He doesn't want to do that. You want to do that. We don't want to do that. We want you to be stupid in public.
I want you to be seen so we can point, laugh, and just say, fam, seriously, you're pathetic. But if you go to MySpace, exactly. That's fine. I don't want to be doing a video series called This Week at MySpace. It doesn't work. Twam, please. Mm-hmm. It sounds like I'm saying tram, but with a lisp.
Yeah. Well, it's like, okay, so with the Elon Musk banning people thing, I want you to be as stupid as you want on Twitter. That way I can have, we can have content because of your stupidity. Like the age, if the truth actually does come to fruition where everyone truly has like the freedom to speak, given that they don't like directly incite, violence or like child exploitative material. If we truly get the opportunity to see the stupid people again, commentary channels are going to be way up.
Yeah.
And genuinely, I don't know why people would ever actually want someone who they think are ideologically inept to stop talking.
Yeah.
Because if if we were going to be challenging each other on their ideological ideals, and I saw somebody who was making an absolute fool of themselves, I would want only to point so that everyone else could see it too.
Yeah.
So the fact that the Democrats fear speech so much means that they simply do not trust that they have better ideas, which is true. They don't.
Well, that's tragic, really, isn't it?
Now, did you see when Elon walked into Twitter?
No, I have not.
So he posted a tweet. They said, "Out inside Twitter HQ, let that sink in."
Let me just go to his Twitter and see this for myself. Elon Musk. I see people. I see people have been fired. His Twitter handle is Chief Twit. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Well, he actually brought a sink with him.
Wait, what? Oh my God, he did. He brought a sink. Let that sink in. I'm going to play the video. I'm going to play the video with the audio on so the chat can hear it. He literally brought a sink in. That's amazing.
Now, I hadn't watched the video. I just saw the post.
Just such a dad joke.
And I wanted to post, what does that sink want now?
Oh, because that'd have been amazing.
There are a bunch of like jokes like following up with that.
Wait, why is this tweet unavailable? What the fuck is that about? Don't you tell me that. Sorry, my Twitter decided to tell me his own tweet was unavailable. How bullshit was that?
Who stopped him? Him?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It must have been like my browser must have... what am I using? Chrome? Yeah, it must have had a fail moment.
But yeah, so he did fire a bunch of the top exec. He fired the CEO, the head of trust and safety. I'm trying to think of who else. I think it was one other person that he had fired outright.
Yeah, I saw I saw videos of I saw the pictures of people being fired. That was all sort of shown. And I thought that was a bit, tragic, really. But they brought it on themselves in that respect, because if you're shit at your job or you're not, he's got to reshuffle the company anyway to make it work, hasn't he? So in one respect, it's not tragic. Obviously, I feel bad for anyone losing their job. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But I don't feel sorry for any of them anyway, because many of them for years have been guilty of this whatever this is, this platform has been for so long.
The censorship and the
and the political bias,
unfair treatment. Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that at a certain point you reap what you sow, and in this case, I think that that's exactly what they got when they decided that they wanted to, get a certain vocal minority of a political faction to be on board with them, and somehow in the process they also convinced a lot of the mainstream to agree that the insane pieces of the Democratic Party were indicative of the full party, and thus we have the psychosis that we currently live with. If I think that if we had still had the kind of media, like the social media inept news organizations that existed back in the day, I think that we would have had we would have a much different political climate now than we do.
Yeah.
When the internet burst open and became mainstream, everything went downhill from there.
That happens with every happens in music a lot. The moment a genre gets popular, all of a sudden it's ruined. And that happens so much.
It's sad.
It is, but it's what happens.
Right. I'm not a big fan because I like it when my things are my things. And especially when people want to basically tear it apart, I don't quite appreciate that. And that's really what they did. I mean, they tore it apart piece by piece, right?
They did, 100%.
And so now I don't know what Elon's going to do, but apparently Tesla engineers are reviewing the code for Twitter, which I think is going to be really interesting because I want to see if they can find any indication, provided they didn't do any kind of like purge of like or reversion from whatever their CM was. I want to see if they actually have certain things that are just automatically flagged.
I'm kind of curious because there's been a lot of talk about the bot accounts as well. I'm intrigued to see how that plays out because you're gonna see a shitload of stuff happen over the next couple of weeks if he's as active as he says he'll be. And I don't see why he wouldn't be because this must be hilarious to him.
Oh, I think he's loving it. I genuinely think so. I wouldn't be surprised to find out later that like they find evidence that like the bot accounts were actually run by individuals from Twitter or something along those lines, because it just sounds like it would be correct.
That would be
like, it just sounds
hilarious. Like... I'm not going to lie. If it was run by them, you can see him be like, right, who am I firing next?
Right. Like, whose account does this link to?
Yeah.
Hang on. I got this.
Right, where's my P40? I'll hand that out to you. It's interesting that, because he wants to unleash this potential of Twitter, which is the whole point. And I do genuinely believe that Twitter has greater potential. Of course it does. But he really does have a lot of rubbish to clear out first.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of, hanging liability on some of the people who are there who aren't going to be as vocal about their support of, like, how things ran in the past. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to piece through that, too, which I think is going to be... Oh, yeah. Because at that point, like, you don't necessarily want to, presume things about people.
Yeah.
You're going to have to wait until they show themselves to be, acting with malintent.
Absolutely.
Which, at that point, then they have full rights to do that. I don't want them to go on a witch hunt. I think that's wrong. So they'll just have to... They'll have to handle it as it comes up, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, so we're just about the 6 o'clock mark.
Yeah, we're done.
You want to end it there?
I do, but I want to promote. If Leona's in my chat, she can do it for me. But chances are I'm going to quickly go and get it myself. I have a new video on my Moistski Reads channel. It's called Ulalume. It's a poem by Edgar Allan Poe. I like to promote it. If I can go and get the link, I have the link. Ulalume. There we go. Please check it out. If anyone has... Does Trups have anything you'd like to promote today?
No, I'm good.
Okay, then. Then we're going to go. Unless Trups isn't here next week, we should be back.
I think I will be here next week. I won't be here on Saturday, so we're good.
When's your daylight savings, by the way?
I think we legislated that away.
Huh. All right. Okay, then. We'll talk about that some other time. Thanks for joining, folks, and we'll be back next week.